Hello and good morning to you. This is Dr. Bill Bledsoe bringing you another glorious session of your morning prayers said aloud in the privacy of your own homes. I just begin the prayers, but you must finish them with your own heartfelt concerns, your walk with God, which is different from mine and anybody else. So we'll begin with my prayer. Beloved God, I thank you for this wonderful method of praying, of each of us praying aloud our heartfelt concerns, pouring them out to you, O God, your love. I thank the generations that have brought this to us from the house of Abraham, the house of David, from Jesus, his mother Mary, Father Joseph, and Virginia Ellen, who wrote the book, Sacred Heart Yoga, so anybody could practice this ancient method of prayer anytime they wanted. I thank all of them, and I thank your love, O God. Amen. Now, if you'll repeat after me, we'll say the Sacred Heart Yoga morning prayer. Beloved God, I devote this practice this day to the evolution of my soul, to the fulfillment of my destiny, in service to your love, O God. And I allow myself to be purified of fear, as I rejoice in your kingdom of heaven and your love, O God. And I give thanks for these blessings, these moments that I can share with my mind, my body, my spirit, and my soul. In oneness with your love, O God. And so it is, Amen. Om. Now, two times in Sacred Heart Yoga, we try to remove our fears and clear our minds. Fear prevents our ability to love. You cannot be terrified of somebody pointing a gun at you or at your family and yet still feel true love in your heart for them. It just does not work. So we have to eliminate our fears to be able to love God, feel God's love, to love others. So here, we're going to do it for the first time. It's called Clear Our Energy Fields. It's really just clearing our minds of any fears, any distractions, any worries that comes up first thing in the morning. We do this by taking our right hand up to the 12 o'clock position. Let it fall over to the 3 o'clock position, like the arms of a clock. And then down to our right knee, left knee, 9 o'clock position, and then back up to the 12 o'clock position. And as we do this motion, our prayers begin with, well, that means repeat after me. God, I clear my energy field. of anyone or anything standing within. I bless them and I send them into your love, your light, O God. Om. Now that's the only two prayers where you'll repeat exactly after me and not add your part. Excuse me. For the rest of the prayers, and there's quite a few, you just repeat my beginning words and then finish them with your own heartfelt concerns. Excuse me. I'll begin the prayers and you finish them. That's why this works so well. It's your prayers, it's not mine. So the next thing we do is we're going to ask God, how may we serve you this day? And the answer comes to me in no more than one or two words. Generally, it can be a heartfelt feeling. Every now and then it'll be nothing at all. And don't worry about it. Whatever comes to you, incorporate it in the rest of your prayers. And through hundreds and hundreds of times of doing Sacred Heart Yoga, I always learn and come away with something. So it's very important for me to do it every day and learn something new, to be evolving my soul, as it says in the introductory prayer. It's very important for me every day to do this. So we take our right hands over our hearts, and from here on out, I'll say, and our prayers begin with, and that's your cue for you to repeat what I say. It's just the beginning of the prayer. And then finish it with your own heartfelt concerns. So here, our right hand over our hearts, and our prayers begin with, God, how may I serve you this day? Om. Now we'll stand up. And announce out loud what came to us. We do this by standing straight and tall, arms at our sides, our palms forward. And here our prayers begin with, God, my intention to serve you this day is to... Om. Now we're going to sing the word Amen aloud 3 times. In Aramaic, in Jesus' tongue, an oath to another person or an oath to God was sealed by saying the word Amen 3 times. Well, here we're going to sing it. Any tune that feels right to you, any pitch that you want. Amen. 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 Now we're going to sit back down on the mat, and this time getting into resting position, which is laying down on our backs. Getting our legs outstretched, our arms at our sides. And we begin by pulling our right knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you, and I thank you for all. Now we take our right foot in our left hand, hold it over to our left thigh, let our right knee fall down to the mat, and our right arm gets extended straight above our head, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you, and I thank you for all. Now we swap hands. We take our right foot in our right hand, holding it down near our pelvis. Our left arm gets extended this time straight above our heads, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you, and I thank you for all. Now we point our right foot up towards the heavens, holding it there with our right hand. And our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we let our right leg fall out, right foot fall out to the right side of our body, extending our right leg out, opening our pelvis as wide as we can. Our arms fall straight out to the sides from our chest down to the mat, palms up. And here our prayers begin with. Excuse me, I've just got a little sinus drip and it just really bothers me. I'm trying to keep a voice, good, clear voice. So here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we take our right foot, point it up towards the heavens, turning our heads to the right, shoulders down on the mat, keeping them flat on the mat. Right leg up towards the heavens, over to the left side of our bodies, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we go back to resting position, and this time we pull our left knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. And our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for all. Now we hold our left foot in our right hand, pull it over to our right thigh,
Let our left knee fall down to the mat. Our left arm gets extended straight above our head, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we take our left foot in our left hand, hold it down near our pelvis. Our right arm gets extended straight above our head, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we point our left foot up towards the heavens. And here, holding it with our left hand, right arm still above our heads, here our prayers begin with God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we let our left leg fall out to the outside, to the left side of our bodies. Our arms get extended straight out to the sides from our shoulders down to the mat. Palms are up, and our prayers begin with God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for all. Now we turn our heads to the left And we, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat, we take our left foot up over across our bodies over to the right side, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for Om. Now we go back to resting position, and this, for a second time, we're going to try to eliminate our fears. It's called surrendering our fears into God's love. So here we take our hands under our sit bones, lean forward on our elbows, try to touch the tops of our heads back down to the mat. And as we do this, our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I surrender. Om. Now we go back to resting position. This time we reach for the heavens with our left hand. Let it fall over to the right side of our body, stretching our left shoulder, left back. And we take our right hand halfway between our left shoulder, left elbow, stretch it over farther. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I choose to Om. Now we go back to resting position and we reach for the heavens with our right hand. Let it fall over to the left side of our body, stretching our right shoulder, right back. And we take our left hand halfway between our left elbow, left shoulder. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I can. Om. Now we go back to resting position, arms at our sides, legs outstretched. And here our prayers, well, we pull our feet up to our pelvis and let our knees fall out to the outside, down to the mat. This forms a triangle below our bodies, which is a tabernacle, a house of God. We form a second tabernacle by putting our hands in prayer position over our hearts, extending them up 2/3 of the way up to the heavens. And in this tabernacle of our hearts, we find God's beautiful chalice. It's brimming over, bubbling over with any gift, anything we could ever desire, want, or need to be used in service to God's love. So here our prayers begin with, God, I drink from your chalice, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands in prayer position down to the mat right at the tops of our heads, and our elbows fall out to the sides. This forms a tabernacle of our entire bodies. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for healing my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we take our thumbs to our foreheads. We keep our hands in prayer position, and we're going to do a series of prayers this time. This is 4 prayers, and we repeat them twice. And it's because they're very, very important. It's us acknowledging that these gifts come from God and they're there for a purpose, that we're supposed to use them serving God's love, spreading God's love. There's no other purpose for them. They're not for self-gratification. They're not for self-enrichment. That would, we would just lose them if we used them for self-gratification, self-enrichment. So here our prayers begin with, our thumbs are to our foreheads. Our hands are always in prayer position during the whole 2 sets of 4 prayers. Thumbs to our foreheads, and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips, and our prayers begin with, God, I bless, and I'll only use them in serving your love, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands down over our hearts in prayer position. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I thank you for your gifts to me of Om. Now we take, and this is a motion this time with our hands. We keep them in prayer position, but we point them down into our abdomens, extend our arms out straight, like the arms of a clock right above our pelvis, like at the 3 o'clock position on the arms of a clock. And then our arms go counterclockwise up to the heavens, the 12 o'clock position, and then down to the mat above our heads, down to the 9 o'clock position. So as we do this motion, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my mind, my body, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of Om. Now we begin the second in the series, second set of 4 prayers in the series. Our thumbs back to our foreheads, and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips. And here our prayers begin with, God, I bless, and I will only use them in service to your love, your gifts to me of all. Now we take our hands down over our hearts in prayer position. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts to me of all. Now we do the motion, pointing our fingers down into our abdomens, extending our arms out to the 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock positions. And our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of all. Now we go back to resting position, cross our right ankle over our left ankle, our right wrist over our left wrist, over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for always protecting me, for always keeping me safe. All. Now we roll over on our side. sides, push ourselves back up into sitting position using our arms and our hands. Now we sit up and we extend our right leg straight out in front of us. Our left foot goes across our right knee. We hold our left knee with our right arm. Left arm goes behind our backs for support as we twist our heads, our shoulders, and our backs to the left. And here our prayers begin with, desire I am, desire I am, desire I am. God, through your love, I desire to Om. Now we change legs. Our left foot goes straight out in front of us. Left leg does. Our right foot goes across our left knee. We hold our right knee with our left hand, left arm, and our right arm goes behind our backs for support. And here we twist our heads, our shoulders, our backs to the right, and our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I will. Om. Now we get up on our knees, put our hands over our hearts in prayer position. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts to me of Om. Now we form a tabernacle with our hands by putting the tips of our thumbs together, the tips of our first fingers together. We put this tabernacle down on the mat in front of us, and we're going to lean over in child's pose and put our foreheads into this tabernacle. And here we're just going to take a moment to feel God's love in the world around us. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. And this time we extend our right leg out to the right side of our bodies. Our left foot comes up to the inside of our right thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I will become. Om. Now we switch legs. Left leg goes out to the left side. Right foot comes up to the inside of our left thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I am. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. This time we sit straight and tall. We put our hands on our knees, palms up, thumbs touching our middle two fingers. And it's like we're forming little tabernacles with our hands. Sitting straight and tall, we bow at our pelvis, bowing forward, keeping our back straight. And here our prayers begin with, I bow to your love, O God, for healing my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we sit back up straight and tall a second time, bowing forward, keeping our back straight. This time our prayers begin with, I bow to your love, O God, my true Father, my true Mother, the One, the Oneness. Om. Now we sit back up straight and tall, third time,
And we feel where we're grounded down to the mat on the left side and right side of our pelvis. On the left side of our pelvis, we feel God's wonderful white light of love, of nurturing, of healing, entering our bodies, healing every single cell in our legs to the tips of our toes, healing every cell in our abdomens. God's love coming up through our abdomens, up into our hearts, healing our hearts, filling our hearts with the love of God so that they shine bright with God's love like a beacon in the night. God's white light of love comes up through our lungs, and with every breath we get more, filling our bodies with God's love. Then it comes in, fills our arms to the tips of our fingers and our throats and up into our minds, filling our minds with God's love, God's nurturing. Now the white light goes out the tops of our heads like a wide, expanding beam of light. Goes up high into the skies, and it wraps around the whole earth and rains down God's love on every living creature there is. Now we feel on the right side of our pelvis God's blue light. God's blue light entering our bodies of wisdom, of truth, of knowing, of discernment. God's blue light fills our legs to the fullest, all the way, every cell to the tips of our toes. It fills every cell in our abdomens, coming up through every organ. God's blue light of truth fills our hearts with God's truth, God's certainty. God's blue light of truth fills our lungs, and with every breath we get more and more. Inhale God's spirit, God's truth. God's blue light fills our arms all the way to the tips of our fingers. It fills our throats and our minds, always giving us the truth, the certainty that we need each day. God's blue light goes out the tops of our heads, fanning out like this wide, bright light and expanding up into the skies and wrapping around the whole earth. And this light of God's wisdom rains down upon every living creature. Now we can step up into the light above our heads, stay as long as we want, ask anything we want. But the one thing we should always ask before leaving is, God, what do I need to know this day? Om.